Hello, this is my narrated PowerPoint for week 7 of ENC 1102. My name is Jessica Bradbury. The authors I chose are Sylvia Plath for the past and then Rupi Kaur for the present. And then the topic I chose was views of the world. So for Rupi Kaur, she expresses different challenges she's faced in her life in terms of love, loss, trauma, and then migration through her culture. So for the first poem I chose for Rupi Kaur, which again is for the present, is this one, and then I'll go ahead and read it. It says, being the loudest on Earth's playground doesn't make us any more important than the dirt we crush beneath our feet. We are nothing except air and fire and water and soil. We are a people who forget what we are made of, a people who talk about the weather as if it's mundane and not magic, as if the oceans are not holy water, as if the sky is not a vision, as if the animals are not our siblings, as if nature is not God, and rain is not God's tears, and we are not God's children, as if God is not the earth itself. I feel that this poem kind of relates to the world because I feel like she's saying, more particularly when she's saying we are nothing except air and fire and water and soil, we are people. I feel like this kind of gives the indication that the moral behind her writing is to explain how humans no longer see the beauty within the earth. So after reading more so into Rupi Kaur's life, I feel like it explains her perspective of where her writing comes from, because I feel because she's dealt with difficult things and been through a lot of different experiences, because it also said within her biography that she started writing and publishing books in her college age. So I feel these are about her experiences growing up in the different hardships that she faced, so it gave her a certain perspective on the world. And I feel she's really talking about in this poem how we take the world for granted and how everybody is human, and at the end of the day everybody is the same. So I feel that's kind of the perspective that she was going for there. And then for my second poet, we have Sylvia Plath, and then she represents the past. And so Sylvia Plath has faced a lot of common hardships that many other people face within her life, just like Rupi Kaur did. She's more well known for writing sort of confessional poetry. So she writes about her experiences that she's faced in her life and just confessing different things that have bothered her and whatnot. So a lot of her poetry has to do with finding her place in the world. So yeah. So the second poem I chose is called The Snowman on the Moor. I'm sorry. So I'll go ahead and read that now. Stalemated their army stood with tottering banners. She flung from her room, still ringing with the bruit of insults and dishonors, and in fury left him, glowering at the coal fire. Come find me, her last taunt. He did not come, but sat on, guarding his grim battlement by the doorstep. Her winter-beheaded daisies, marrowless gaunt, warned her to keep indoors with the political goodwill, not haste into a landscape of stark wind-harrowed hills and weltering mist. But from the house she stalked, intractable as a driven ghost. Across moor snows, pocked by rook claw and rabbit track, she must yet win him to his knees. So basically, I feel this poem was a bit harder for me to break down generally because it's obviously not as modern as the other poem. So I feel this poem was kind of about feminism and her womanhood within this time period, because after researching about Sylvia Plath, I found out that a lot of her work became most notable around the 1950s, which was a big time period for feminism and women's rights. So I feel within this poem she's more so talking about being submissive towards a man in this time period, and the cultural and societal stereotypes that women would face during this period. So I feel for example, when she says warned her to keep indoors with political goodwill, not haste into a landscape, that's kind of saying keep her opinions to herself and not express those things because she's a woman. So that's generally where I came to terms with that. And I feel so after reading about the time period and when her work came to be most popular, it really helped me come to that perspective and made me understand that what she's writing about is about her womanhood and how she feels about that during that time period. So yeah, thank you for listening. Here's my works cited page, and thank you.